Good. Don't break things, don't ask questions, and stay out of the vault room. Understood? Yes, sir. He looked up then, his blue eyes meeting hers. There was something in his gaze, a flicker of curiosity. What were you before this? He asked suddenly. A business student. I graduated 2 years ago. Interesting. A degree holder cleaning floors? Olivia swallowed her pride. Sometimes life doesn't go as planned, sir. Ethan gave a small, humorless smile. That's something we have in common. She left the study feeling uneasy. There was something unreadable about Ethan, like a man carrying secrets heavier than his fortune. The vault room mystery. Days turned into weeks. Olivia became efficient and quiet, earning the silent approval of the staff. But every time she walked past the vault room on the second floor, a steel door with digital locks, she felt a strange pull. Rumors swirled among the workers that it wasn't a bank vault, but something far more dangerous. One night, as she was cleaning the hall, she heard voices from behind the vault door. Ethan, it's not ready yet. If anyone finds out, Madeline, they won't, as long as that maid keeps her nose out of things. Her name. They mentioned her name. Olivia froze, her heart pounding. When she turned, she saw the butler, Mr. Grant, standing at the end of the corridor watching her. Go to bed, Miss Stone, he said softly. Some doors are better left closed. The missing necklace. 2 weeks later, chaos broke out in the mansion. A diamond necklace worth $5 million had gone missing. A family heirloom belonging to Madeline Harrington. Olivia was polishing silverware when she heard the shouting. Check every room, Madeline screamed. No one leaves until it's found. The staff searched everywhere. Drawers, closets, even laundry bags. Hours later, when everyone gathered in the main hall, Ethan stood in silence beside a police officer. And then it happened. One of the guards held up a small velvet pouch. We found this in Olivia's locker. The air went still. Olivia's hands trembled. That's not mine. I swear, I've never seen that before. Madeline's face twisted into rage. Liar! You're fired and arrested. Before she could protest, 2 officers stepped forward and grabbed her wrists. Ethan said nothing. The arrest? As she was led out of the mansion in handcuffs, rain began to pour. The media was already at the gates. Cameras flashed like lightning. Maid arrested in billionaire heist, the reporters shouted. Did you steal from your employers, Olivia Stone? Are you working for someone else? She couldn't answer. Tears blurred her vision. In that moment, she felt smaller than she ever had before, humiliated, helpless, and heartbroken. But as the police car drove away, she caught one last glimpse of Ethan standing by the window, watching her leave. His face wasn't angry. It was conflicted. In the holding cell, hours later, Olivia sat in a cold, damp holding cell at the Ashton City Police Department. Her fingerprints had been taken, her belongings seized, and her reputation destroyed. She stared at the wall, whispering to herself, why me? Who would do this? A soft voice came from the next cell. You must have upset someone powerful, said a woman she couldn't see. Olivia turned. Who are you? Someone who worked for the Harringtons once, the woman said. You're not the first they've framed. Her heart pounded. Framed? Why? Because you saw something you weren't supposed to. Before Olivia could ask more, the guards returned. Stone, your bail's been posted. She frowned. Bail? By who? The guard smirked. Some guy in a black car. Didn't give his name. The secret ally. Outside the police station, a black Rolls-Royce waited. The door opened, and Ethan Harrington stepped out. Olivia froze. You? He nodded. Get in. Inside the car, silence hung heavy. Finally, Olivia spoke. Why did you bail me out? You think I stole from you. Ethan's jaw tightened. I know you didn't. She stared at him, disbelief flashing across her face. Then why didn't you stop your mother? Because, he said quietly, I need proof. And you're the only one who can help me find it. Olivia's pulse quickened. Proof of what? He looked at her. That someone inside that mansion is stealing millions. Not jewelry, but lives. The alliance of secrets. The night air outside the police station was thick with tension. Olivia sat in Ethan Harrington's car, unsure whether to trust him. He was still the man whose silence had cost her everything. She folded her arms. You stood there while they humiliated me. Ethan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. If I had defended you then, my mother would have destroyed us both. You don't understand how far her control goes. Olivia gave a bitter laugh. I understand betrayal. That's enough. The car rolled through the sleeping city until they stopped near the old industrial district, a place that smelled of rust and secrets. Ethan parked behind a warehouse and turned off the engine. Why are we here? She asked. This is where it started, he said, and where it can end. The files in the dark. Inside the warehouse, Ethan led her to a small office tucked behind dusty machinery. On the desk lay stacks of ledgers, folders, and hard drives. Olivia frowned. What is all this? Evidence, he said. Transactions, offshore accounts, coded payments. My mother's been laundering money through shell charities, using the mansion as a front. The missing necklace was just a cover-up to distract from a transfer she couldn't hide. Olivia's eyes widened. You're saying she framed me to bury her own crime? Yes, he said grimly, but without solid proof tying her to the laundering, I can't stop her. Olivia approached the desk slowly, her hands trembling as she looked through the papers. Then why me? Why choose me as the scapegoat? Ethan hesitated. Because you saw something. Because you saw something you shouldn't have. Olivia looked up sharply. What did I see? He stepped closer, lowering his voice. The night you passed by the vault room, you heard us talking. My mother panicked. She thought you overheard the deal. I only heard fragments, Olivia said. Nothing made sense. Doesn't matter. She couldn't risk anyone connecting her to that vault, so she planted the necklace, called the police, and wiped her hands clean. A cold chill crawled up Olivia's spine, and you just let it happen. Ethan exhaled heavily. I had no choice, until now. The hidden drive. Ethan pulled open a drawer and retrieved a small, encrypted USB drive. This, he said, contains digital records, proof that my mother transferred millions through offshore accounts under the names of staff members she later fired or framed. You were next. Olivia's blood ran cold. Then we take it to the police. He shook his head. No. If we go now, she'll erase everything and spin it as another betrayal. The Harringtons own the police in Ashton Heights. We need public exposure. So what's the plan? He gave a faint smile. You'll go back. Olivia froze. Go back? To the mansion? Ethan, they just arrested me. That's why she won't suspect you'll dare return. We'll make her think you've surrendered, begged for forgiveness. While you're inside, I'll track her communications. You just need to find one thing for me. What thing? The key to the vault. The return. The next morning, Olivia stood before the mansion's gate once again. Every step she took toward that house felt like walking into the lion's den. Her palms were sweaty, her heart pounding. The guard recognized her instantly. You can't be here. I just need to speak with Mrs. Harrington, she said firmly. Please, just once. After a tense few minutes, Madeline appeared on the balcony, draped in elegance and disdain. Well, look who returned, she said, her voice dripping venom. Have you come to confess, thief? Olivia bowed her head. I came to apologize, ma'am. I made mistakes, but I swear I never meant disrespect. Please, give me one chance to prove my loyalty. Madeline studied her for a long moment. Then, to everyone's shock, she smiled. Fine, you may work here until the court date. Consider it your punishment. Olivia's heart raced. She was back inside, spying in silence. The next few days, Olivia worked quietly, blending into the background as if nothing had changed. But beneath her calm expression, her mind was sharp, memorizing movements, noting locked drawers, overhearing hushed conversations. Every night, she sneaked into unused rooms and whispered updates into a small, hidden earpiece Ethan had given her. Madeline's meeting a man tonight, she whispered one evening while dusting the corridor. Where? Came Ethan's voice. The vault room. Good. Keep your distance. Don't let her see you. That night, Olivia hid behind the curtain near the vault. Madeline entered with Mr. Grant the butler and a silver briefcase. They keyed in a passcode and the steel door opened with a hiss. From the shadows, Olivia caught a glimpse of something chilling. Stacks of cash, jewels, and dozens of confidential documents bearing the logo of Harrington Trust & Co. Grant spoke softly. The transfer is complete. The funds have moved through the charity accounts. Excellent, Madeline replied. By the time anyone realizes, Olivia Stone will be convicted and forgotten. Olivia's fists clenched, but she forced herself not to move. Her hidden mic captured every word. Ethan's betrayal. The next morning, Ethan didn't respond to her transmissions. Hours passed. No calls, no updates. By evening, panic started to creep in. When she finally saw him at the mansion that night, during one of Madeline's business dinners, he acted like he didn't even know her. Good evening, sir, she whispered as she passed him a tray of drinks. He looked through her like she was invisible. Her heart broke a little. Was he using me all along? Later, in the kitchen, Ramon approached her quietly. You should leave, he said. Something feels wrong. The lady's been making calls all day. The staff are being dismissed one by one. Dismissed? Yes, Grant and I are next. Olivia's fear deepened. She slipped into the hallway and tried calling Ethan again, but the earpiece was dead. No signal. Then she saw them. Ethan and Madeline in the study arguing loudly. Madeline slammed a folder onto the desk. You think I don't know what you're doing, Ethan? You think I'm blind? Ethan's voice was strained. I just want out, Mother. I can't keep covering up for you. You'll do as I say, she hissed, or I'll bury you like I buried that maid. Olivia's breath caught. She had never heard him sound so helpless. The trap. The next morning, a messenger arrived for Olivia. A package for you, he said, handing her a small envelope. Inside was a note written in elegant handwriting. Meet me by the garden fountain at midnight. I have the proof you need. E.H. Her pulse leapt. Ethan. Maybe he was trying to fix things. Maybe he had been pretending in front of his mother. At midnight, she crept through the mansion grounds, the moonlight spilling silver across the grass. The fountain glimmered at the center, but no one was there. Instead, she heard footsteps behind her, heavy and fast. Before she could turn, flashlights blinded her. Please, don't move. What's happening? She stammered. An officer stepped forward, reading from a warrant. Olivia Stone, you are under arrest for blackmail, extortion, and theft of confidential documents belonging to the Harrington family. Her knees buckled. That's a lie. Then she saw him, Ethan, standing in the shadows beside his mother. Her world shattered. Ethan, you set me up? He didn't answer. His expression was cold, almost lifeless. I'm sorry, he said softly as the police pulled her away. It's the only way. Behind bars again. Back in jail, Olivia felt hollow. She had trusted him, believed in him, and now she was right back where she started. Her reputation ruined, her freedom gone, and her hope crushed. But late that night, a guard slipped her a folded note. Don't lose faith. Cameras are rolling. This is bigger than you think. E. Her heart skipped. Was it him again, or another trick? She unfolded the note further. Attached to it was a tiny USB drive, the same one Ethan had shown her before. Olivia realized then he hadn't betrayed her. He had faked it all to record his mother's corruption. The broadcast. The next morning, the world woke to chaos. All major news channels in Ashton Heights were airing a secretly recorded video. It showed Madeline Harrington in her study, boasting about framing her maid to cover her crimes, transferring illegal funds, and manipulating the police. It was devastating, unmistakable, unforgivable. Madeline's empire collapsed overnight. The police raided the mansion, warrants were issued, and Olivia Stone's name was cleared. But the victory was bittersweet because Ethan had disappeared. The truth about Ethan. Days later, Olivia was released from custody. As she walked out of the station, reporters swarmed her, cameras flashing. Olivia, how does it feel to be free? Will you sue the Harrington family? Did Ethan help you? She ignored them all. The only thing she cared about was finding him. It was Ramon who finally found her 2 weeks later. There's something you should see, he said, handing her a letter. It was from Ethan. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. The authorities will find everything they need to put my mother away, but they'll find me guilty too, for helping her before I realized what she truly was. I'm not innocent, Olivia, but you are. You showed me courage I never had. If karma is real, maybe someday I'll earn my peace. Ethan. Tears streamed down Olivia's cheeks as she folded the letter. He had sacrificed himself to set things right. The fall of the Harringtons. News spread quickly. Madeline Harrington was sentenced to 25 years in prison for fraud, tax evasion, and perjury. The Harrington mansion was seized, its gates chained, its walls stripped of their glitter. And in every newspaper, one line stood out. Billionaire Maid cleared of all charges, exposes Harrington crime empire. Olivia had become a symbol of resilience, but inside she carried scars deeper than any fame could heal. The weight of freedom. Freedom didn't feel the way Olivia imagined. When the heavy steel gates of the Ashton Police Department closed behind her for the last time, she didn't feel victory, only emptiness. The air was cold, her heart even colder. The world outside had moved on, but her name still floated through every headline and whisper. The maid who brought down a billionaire, the servant who exposed her master, the woman who destroyed the Harrington dynasty. People stared when she walked into cafes. Strangers approached her for interviews. Some called her brave, others called her lucky. None of them knew what it cost her. She had lost everything, her dignity, her peace, and the only man she'd started to trust. Ethan Harrington. A home with ghosts. After the trial, Olivia stayed in a small rented apartment on the city's east side. One room, cracked walls, and a single window that overlooked a street of endless traffic. Every night, she'd reread Ethan's letter. His words felt like ghosts lingering in the air. If karma is real, maybe someday I'll earn my peace. She whispered into the empty room, "You already did, Ethan." Yet the guilt refused to fade. He had vanished. No one knew whether he had fled the country, been arrested, or simply disappeared into the shadows of his family's disgrace. Some nights, Olivia dreamed of him walking through the door, tired but smiling. She'd wake up, look around the empty apartment, and remind herself that fairy tales don't return twice. A visit from the past. One rainy evening, as thunder rolled across the city, there was a knock on her door. When she opened it, she froze. "Ramon?" she gasped. The old chef from the Harrington mansion stood there, his coat soaked. He smiled softly. "Still remember me, eh?" Olivia hugged him tightly. "Of course. How did you find me?" He handed her an envelope. "This came for you at the restaurant I now work in. No sender's name, just your initials written in gold." Inside was a single sheet of paper, marked with Ethan's handwriting. "Go to Harrington Estate. The truth still lives there." The return to the mansion. The Harrington mansion had turned into a ghost house. The once golden gates were rusted, the lawn overgrown, the luxury cars were gone, and silence hung where laughter and orders once echoed. Olivia walked up the marble stairs, her footsteps faint against the empty halls. The scent of perfume, polish, and secrets still lingered. Every corridor whispered memories, the humiliation, the arrest, the betrayal. When she reached the vault room, she noticed something new. The keypad lock was smashed. The door was slightly open. Inside, the vault was empty, except for a single metal briefcase in the center of the floor. She knelt and opened it slowly. Inside was a letter and an audio recorder. "Olivia," Ethan's voice said, soft and tired. "If you found this, it means my time has run out. I couldn't leave the country. I turned in. They'll charge me for my involvement, but at least the truth is complete. There's more you deserve to know. The vault wasn't just hiding money, it was hiding lives, children exploited through fake charities. My mother's empire wasn't just built on greed, but on people's pain. I'm helping the authorities now, but I needed you to know the full story. You were right about everything. You were braver than I ever was. I don't expect forgiveness, but if karma really balances the world, maybe this is mine. Thank you for saving me, even when I didn't deserve it." Olivia sat in silence, tears rolling down her face. His confession wasn't for redemption, it was for closure. The news that broke her. The next morning, every channel in Ashton Heights ran a breaking story. Ethan Harrington found dead in federal custody, apparent suicide. The world gasped. The same people who had called him cold now called him tragic. The man who was once untouchable had died alone in a cell, far from the empire he was born to inherit. Olivia couldn't breathe as she stared at the television screen. Her trembling hand reached for the letter he had left behind. The words blurred through her tears. Ramon stood beside her quietly. "He did it for you, you know, for the truth." "I didn't want him to die for me," she whispered. "I just wanted him to live right." Karma circle. Months passed. Madeline Harrington's trial ended in devastation. Evidence from Ethan's recordings exposed years of corruption and exploitation. Her fake charities had laundered over $200 million, and her influence over police and politicians finally crumbled. The judge's words echoed through the courtroom. "The law may have been your servant once, Mrs. Harrington, but today you answer to it." Olivia watched from the back of the courtroom as Madeline, once the untouchable queen of Ashton Heights, was led away in handcuffs. The crowd outside cheered, reporters shouted, but Olivia just stood silently. No satisfaction, no revenge, only the quiet ache of justice. Rebuilding. With the government's help, Olivia received compensation for wrongful arrest and a share of the assets recovered from the Harrington Foundation's illegal accounts. She used the money to start something new. The Phoenix Project, a rehabilitation foundation for women wrongfully imprisoned or exploited in domestic work. When she was invited to speak at its inauguration, she stood on stage before a hall full of reporters, survivors, and strangers who had followed her story for months. "I was once a maid," she began softly, "and I was once a prisoner, not just of the system, but of someone else's power. But I learned something through all of it. Money can buy silence, but not peace. Power can control people, but never the truth." The audience fell silent. She continued, her voice trembling but strong. "I didn't win because I fought harder. I won because karma doesn't forget. Applause thundered through. Couldn't sleep. Nights when Ethan's voice echoed in her dreams, not in guilt, but in longing. She often visited his grave in Ravenhill Cemetery, leaving fresh lilies. It was her ritual, her silent conversation with the one man who had both broken and redeemed her faith in humanity. But fate wasn't finished with her story. Karma still had one last chapter to write. The letter that changed everything. It was a quiet Sunday morning when her assistant, Clara, knocked on her office door. Olivia, there's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent. Who is it? A lawyer from the Federal Investigations Unit. Moments later, a man in a gray suit entered. He looked serious, holding a sealed brown envelope. Miss Stone, he said, I'm Agent Nolan. I believe you deserve to know the full truth about Ethan Harrington's death. Olivia's heart skipped. The full truth? He nodded grimly. We reopened the case last month after uncovering inconsistencies in the autopsy and surveillance reports. She froze. Are you saying he didn't kill himself? The agent placed the envelope on her desk. Read it, then decide whether you want to be part of what happens next. The hidden truth. Inside the envelope were classified documents, photographs, time logs, and a single note written in Ethan's handwriting, one she had never seen before. If anything happens to me, it won't be by my own hand. She's still out there. Protect the evidence. E.H. Tears blurred her vision. She's still out there? She whispered. Agent Nolan nodded. Madeline Harrington never acted alone. During her trial, she hid the name of one man, her fixer, the person who made sure all her dirty work stayed invisible, including her son's silencing. Olivia's voice trembled. You mean Ethan was murdered? We believe so, Nolan said quietly, and the person behind it might still be working for her, even now, inside the prison system. Her mind spun. After everything, after karma had seemingly completed its circle, darkness still lingered. The prison visit. 3 days later, Olivia stood before the Ashton Federal Correctional Facility, its gray walls towering against the evening sky. She walked through the metal detectors, her visitor's pass trembling in her hand. Inside, behind a thick glass panel, Madeline Harrington waited. Her once perfect face had aged 10 years. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something colder, acceptance laced with venom. Well, Madeline said with a thin smile, the famous Olivia Stone, come to gloat? Olivia's eyes were steady. No, I came to ask you one thing. Oh? Madeline leaned forward. What could you possibly want from me now? Olivia's voice hardened. Who killed your son? For the first time, Madeline's expression cracked. Killed? She echoed softly, feigning surprise. You think I'd harm my own blood? I think, Olivia said, you'd do anything to protect your empire, even destroy what little was left of your family. Back, clutching his shoulder. I'm fine, he grunted. Bullet just grazed me. Sirens wailed in the distance, real police this time. Olivia knelt beside him, tears mixing with the rain. You saved me again, he smiled weakly. Karma owed me one. Redemption. Weeks later, the full truth unraveled. Agent Nolan had been secretly working with remnants of Madeline's network, ensuring that certain evidence disappeared and witnesses stayed silent. Ethan's return and Olivia's persistence had exposed the rot within the system. For once, the law acted faster than corruption. Nolan was posthumously charged. Madeline's sentence was extended for conspiracy to murder and obstruction of justice. Ethan, finally freed from hiding, testified before the world. The name Harrington no longer represented greed. It represented justice reborn. Peace returns. Months later, Olivia and Ethan stood on the balcony of the restored mansion, now the headquarters of the Phoenix Foundation International. Children played in the gardens below, their laughter echoing through halls once filled with fear. Ethan looked at her. You turned my family's curse into hope. Olivia smiled softly. No, you gave me the key, I just opened the door. He turned toward the horizon. Do you ever think karma forgives? She touched his hand. Karma doesn't forgive, it balances, and today, we're finally even. Epilogue. The last gift. One morning, as sunlight spilled through her office window, Olivia found a small package on her desk. No name, no note. Inside was a locket, silver engraved with the words, Truth, courage, balance. She opened it to find a tiny picture of Ethan as a boy, smiling beside his late father, and a new photograph of herself placed next to it. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered, "You kept both lives safe." Outside, the wind swept through the trees, carrying a whisper across the grounds, soft, distant, and peaceful. And for the first time in years, Olivia felt truly free. The maid who had once been arrested now ruled her own empire of kindness. The billionaire's curse had ended, and karma, silent, patient, eternal, smiled.